massage portion, we'll first treat the front of the hand, called the palm area. We'll address the thumb muscles, the finger muscles here, and the deeper structures, as well as over the wrist area. So with the palm aspect, we're going to use a tennis ball as well as a golf ball. You place it on top of the kitchen counter or a table, and then you press in with your palm onto the ball, and you could do rotation motions. And if it slides too much, you can have your other hand as a barrier so the ball doesn't slide too much. And then I'll go side to side, up and down, starting with the thenar muscles. And I'm also going across the wrist area, capturing that tough connective tissue. And then I'll roll to the hypothenar muscles. And then I could also go up and down, and then side to side. And then go directly right into the palmar aspect, getting in there deep. Now, if you can't apply enough pressure, you could have your other hand on top to reinforce and apply the pressure with this hand. And I'm going all the way to the front of my knuckles here. Then I could get into a narrower ball, such as a golf ball, to go more specifically into those areas that I couldn't get with a tennis ball. And going around the attachment of the tough connective tissue that attaches to those wrist bones, to the hypothenar eminence, and going right in between the hand bones. Because as you recall, right along the hand bones are the tendons of the forearm muscles. So we want to go right in between those. Now, you could also do is rotate so that your palm is facing upward, and then use a tennis ball, doing a rotation, going up and down, around the side, moving over to the thenar eminence. The sounds you hear are my little dog roaming around here. We thought she could be in the picture too. And then here is the tough connective tissue that attaches to the wrist bones. You could get in there with the tennis ball. And then you could also use the golf ball. Now, if you don't have either a tennis ball or a golf ball, you could always use your elbow. So make sure you have a soft covering, so a pillow or a blanket to cover the hard surface, and then use your elbow to address the thenar and hypothenar muscles, and as well as that tough connective tissue that attaches to the wrist bones. And now I'm going right into the palmar fascia, or palmar aponeurosis. Going to the front of the knuckles. When I get to the front of the knuckles, I'm not going to use a lot of pressure because the bones are superficial at that point. So I'm going right in between. And now we'll move on with specific tools that we could use to get in deeper. Now with specific tools and fingers to get into the thenar and hypothenar, you could use is the end point of a wooden spoon. It replaces your thumb, which I'm going to show a little bit later. But you could see I could get into the muscles a little bit more specifically. So here is the bone of the thumb. I could go right between the bone and the musculature to get at a different angle of massaging the thenar eminence. Moving towards the wrist, go directly on top of the thenar muscles, and also the in between the thumb and the second finger. Then I could get into the hypothenar. And then getting, again, between the bone and the muscles. After doing that, you could use the handle end of the butter knife. In this case will be the thenar or hypothenar muscles. Same area between the bone and the muscles to get in there deeper. So you can move up and down and side to side. Going towards the wrist bones where the tough connective tissue is. When you go across the tough connective tissue, you can do circular motion or up and down motion. Then going across to the thenar muscles between the bone of the thumb and the musculature. You go right in between the bellies of the thumb muscles. And then you get into the palmar fascia as well as those deeper muscles in between the tendons and the finger bones with using the same instrument. And I'm also going to show you with the wedge shape of the wooden spoon. Just to be careful, start off with moderate pressure. And if you're comfortable enough, then you can increase your pressure. And I'm going to show with the wooden spatula, the tapered end. Move up and down and then side to side. And your landmarking is basically between the finger bones, and if you start in this position, then you know that you're safe to go in without affecting the tendons of the forearm muscles. Moving up and down and side to side. And then you could get into using your thumb. So you could play around, move your hand in different positions as you're stroking your thumb along the muscles, working along the attachment of that tough connective tissue. And another thing you could do is move the thumb and stroke at the same time with your thumb. So you're elongating the muscle. In this particular case, I'm taking my thumb away from my hand. And as I do that, I stroke with my thumb along the thenar muscles. So pressure into the muscles as I move my thumb away, and light pressure or no pressure when I bring my thumb back. So you could do it in this position or in this position. So as my thumb moves away, I stroke along the thenar muscles. And even between the bone and the thenar muscles. Very similar to the hypothenar muscles. and the thumb on the tough connective tissue attaching to the wrist bones. It's almost like shaving away around its attachment. And as you know, in the anatomy portion, a lot of thenar and hypothenar muscles not only attach to the wrist bones, but also to the tough connective tissue. If you're finding that your thumbs are getting tired, you can use these tools and even a pen. You can also do circular motion. You can continue using the pen in those deep muscles in between your finger bones. Up and down, circular, side to side. Staying stationary, meaning not moving along the skin. I'm taking the skin with me. So these are the techniques that you can use for your palmar side of your hand. Next, we'll move to the back side of your hand.